Welcome back. Another episode, Unified Podcast. Hopefully you listened to the episode before this with my wife, Eleanor. That was a really beneficial conversation talking about being raised Christian and how we're to find our own faith and how to do that aside from how you were raised by your parents. Now we've kind of got a good opposite point of view. But I'm here. This is Connor Willman. He's going to introduce himself here in a second. But Connor and I, we figured out this week, I've been friends for 17 years.
Yeah.
17 years.
We old.
He's here visiting from England. So if you hear my accent come out a little bit, just let it happen. It's going to be in bits. It'll be a bit American. It'll be a bit English. It's just how it's going to go. But yeah, it's been 17 years and Connor's visited us in America how many times now?
7.
Seven?
Yeah, 6 Phoenix, 1 South Carolina.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been forced to stay friends.
Yeah, only because of me. I just fly out. You don't know I'm coming, and then you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I
you
guess
just
we're
show
still
up.
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just show up. So yeah, Connor, give him a little intro. Tell him, not little, tell him about you. Tell him about how your faith came about, and what you're doing now. We'll get into the details of things after.
Yes, Aaron says I'm Connor. I'm from a small town called Southport in the northwest of England.
Yeah.
Grew up in a household that was not Christian, did not believe in God. Went to a Church of England school, which was boring. We do a load of hymns.
Parents are divorced.
Parents are divorced when I was 1, so never really knew a family setting. Just me and my mum. Went to a primary school that was all faith-based, but didn't introduce Jesus to me. Like, it was kind of, these are the rules, try and do them. And obviously as a kid, you don't want to abide by the rules. And then, went to Tolton High School where we met. Me and Aaron didn't like each other at the beginning. And then a year in, became best friends. You invited me to church. I stayed over at yours on a Saturday and, just was going to church. To be honest, I went to church because I fancied a few girls there. But through that, then, I found a relationship with God, but also I found what it looked like to have a loving family. Your mum and dad took me in and I'd have dinner with you guys and just be part of the family. And that was the first time ever that I had that in my life. And through that, I think God just showed what his love looks like through a loving family. Yeah,
you gained relationship, not just with me, and that was Aaron's parents. It was, you gained relationship individually to you with them.
Yeah, sure.
Which now it's seen as adults. It's like, Connor has a friendship with my parents and with my siblings. So so we'll fill in the gaps a bit there now. And now you're a pastor.
Now I'm next gen.
So let's fill the blanks in a little bit. And then eventually we want to get to speaking into how to live the ways of Jesus in a culture that's not very Christian and not in a weird way that still can be appealing to other people. But we'll fill in the blanks here because Connor's life is worth hearing the details in there. So we were talking about this yesterday, but when would you say you think you were saved?
Yeah, so...
it came into fully following Christ, but when do you think you were saved?
So I always believed in God, but it would have been about 13, 14 where I really learned that it's a relationship with Jesus. And so 13, 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't want to say all the details, but it's given kind of what's happened since we were 16 when we left England.
Yeah.
And then a lot of life happened in between there, so... Tell them about that.
Yeah, so obviously the Wadsworths left England at 16. I was still at the church that we went to, and then left at 17. I fell out with the youth pastor. It was a mixture of things, an ego from my side as well. Kind of lived my life for a few years, and then came over here for my 21st birthday. Was in a bad relationship. Prayed for God to take anxiety, depression away. Took it away straight away, and then went home. Planted a church in Southport called Glass House. And then after a year, I got diagnosed with cancer. And so got diagnosed with cancer.
At 22?
At 22.
Yeah.
They removed it. And then it spread to my stomach. And yeah, it was a crazy journey. It was a year of really just leaning into God, and there was some amazing moments. If you don't kind of go into it,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, go.
So the second time around, when I got diagnosed, I had Hillsong conference, and I had 2 weeks to get my treatment, or if not, it would just spread all over my body.
Mm.
And I told them, I was like, I'm going to this conference. They were like, no, Mr. Willman, we need you in. We need you to have treatment. I was like, I will do. 3-4 days, I'll be back. And so the last day of this conference, Brian Johnson, who's Bethel senior pastor, has a healing ministry, bumped into my pastors and asked them, you know, can we pray for anything? And he said, our youth pastor's got cancer. Can you pray for him? And 14,000 people prayed for me.
Wow.
I felt a weird feeling in my stomach. I'm allergic to dairy, so I thought maybe I just had some chocolate or something. And then the next day, rang my doctors and was like, I need a blood scan, I need tests, I need all this. I believe I'm healed. And they were like, Connor, get in now. We need you to start chemo. So I started chemotherapy, and after a week, they do checks, and I had 0 tumor markers in my body. I had no cancer in my body.
Wow.
And so, praise God, and I was hyped, and I was like, I'm healed, and I was thinking I could just walk out of the hospital and live my life, but I had to carry on my treatment, and it was 9 weeks of intense chemotherapy. Lost my hair and all that, but nearly died twice during that time. So I had sepsis twice. The first time I had 0 white blood cells, which mean if I got a cold, I'm dead. And then red blood cells went down, but I had a temperature of, I think we worked out, it was 119?
Yeah.
119 Fahrenheit, which is like, 47 Celsius for English people. And so the proteins in my body were melting, and so I nearly died there. But it's amazing to see God place things in your life at the right time. So I come back, go to church. A year later, I get diagnosed with cancer. If it was a year before, I would not have been able to get through that because I didn't have a relationship with Jesus. So, so did that. Then we went to COVID, which was fun.
Stop there for a second, 'cause I want to ask you about when you were in your cancer treatment. You were writing a blog, and tell me about that story with.
Yeah, so I was at home or in hospital on my own. So I just started writing a blog about what I was facing. So it started off like the first one with the diagnosis. And there was a few jokes. Like if you know me, I will joke about everything if it's really serious, because I don't like to be serious most of the time. And so it'd be like, if it's my time to go, God just wants me with him before all of you suckers, right? And all this, and just joking around. But I did maybe 6 through both diagnoses. And then I found out a few months after that, like 5 of our high school teachers started going to church because of it. And so, it's those things that you go, I was facing so much, but God used it for good. Yeah. And I would do it 10 times over if that happened again. So, yeah.
Then what were you saying you were going?
And then we went into lockdown in England. And so we had a year and a half of not being able to go outside the house. And so that was interesting. So I had a year of obviously being in hospital, and then a year and a half of
church was closed.
Church was closed. We were doing online church. We were doing like youth Zoom calls twice a week. Team was burnt out, and but I was able to still kind of share what I'd just been through, and it helped. I think a lot of people going through a time that they didn't know what was going on, because when I had cancer, no one knows what's going to happen, and so I was able to share that and help, as the best way I can. So
just thinking here. I mean, a lot of people will hear stories like that, similar to it in America, where it's like, I was facing this hardship and God did this and all that, but it's unheard of in England. As in, like, for us, like, and a lot of the teachers we were raised by in our school and the other students in our school, them seeing young people going through something like that and saying they trust God in it is actually completely foreign to them. Like, not like, oh, I've heard this before. It's like, no, it's weird. It's really odd. Read a book recently called Good Faith, and it's like talking about if you're truly walking in good faith, you're going to be seen as extreme. Which is so true. And so it's keeping that perspective of this wasn't like a normal thing. Like, Connor writing those blogs wasn't like, oh, like all my followers on Instagram are gonna like think I'm really cool for this. It's like, no, like you actually look weird. You look a bit odd. What do you mean, God? Like, you have cancer. Like, obviously, God's not real. You know. So speak. I mean, as someone who's a pastor in England now, speak to that of like what it's like to pastor that kind of people, and what you do personally. There's someone who still in your family you're the only follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
So like, speak to that.
Yeah, I think for me it all starts, and it starts on my 21st birthday when I was going through a bad relationship.
Yeah.
You gave me a verse that said, it was 2 Timothy 2:22. Run from anything that stimulates you for lust. Instead, pursue righteous living with righteous people. And so I took that verse on and prepared myself to be able to actually go back from what I was running from, to actually be a light in that place. And so I think, especially for like high school students and college students, it's you'd be told to be the example. So 1 Timothy 4:12 is like the young people, verse, but it's like, how can they be example if they don't know the example?
Yeah.
And so it's learning to be an example, and it's okay to push friends away if they're actually being a bad influence, if they're pushing you away from God, to then run back when you have got a firm foundation in Jesus, and be able to shine what is going on in your life and share that. And so it started from there. I don't think I could have done it straight away. I had to learn it, and so then now, obviously, our youth group is going strong, and 75% of them don't go to church. It's just being myself. God has made me to be me to people that He puts around me. Yeah. I don't need to be different, right? And I grew up in a non-Christian household, so I am not the perfect Christian. Yeah. I have a humor that comes from my mom, who is not a Christian, right?
It was funny.
Yeah, she's hilarious, right? But to someone who's maybe been in church for all their life, will see that as a bit, it's a bit rude, or it's a bit... But actually, that works really well with non-Christians. That works really well with people who are getting to know Christ, because they know now there is someone who is like them, who is where He is now, and so it's achievable for them too. Not that it's all about achievement, but it shows that God can work through them as much as He's worked through me. And so, just being yourself, I think that's what they want. You talked about it recently, where it's like this next gen just want authenticity. They don't want fake, and they can see fake from a mile away. Yep. And so if I'm having a bad day, you know what? They can see on my face that I'm a bit grumpy, and they know not to annoy me as much, right? And so being in that environment, and still keeping my friends that are non-Christian, right? So the guy who cuts my hair is one of my best friends, called Marcus. He's a non-Christian. His parents go to church, but he's not. But he had a health scare, and he won't mind me sharing this. And he drove me to his barbershop and stopped and asked me to pray for him.
Whoa.
Right?
Wow.
And so he knows that I have a faith, and so he's going to ask me to pray. And so I'm so open about my faith, and so open about who I am, that people feel like they can come to me whenever they want. And I think that's what God has called us to be. Yeah, man.
It's be yourself, and then it's knowing who you are being yourself too. You know what I mean? Like, I think, use this analogy. Elle's old car was this Subaru, and it had like different modes of driving. So it was like, just regular road driving. Then it had that mode where it was for icy roads or for mountain roads and all that stuff. We knew the end destination, but you have to change the mode of the car to get there in the right way. Yeah. I mean, it's not that with different people you change who you are, but it's like when Paul says, I became all things to all people so I might win some, that's not him saying that he changed who he is or he changed the message of Jesus, but you change the method of how you get there. You change the driving mode of how am I getting to the destination, be it that this is the road of what, this is the type of road that I'm on. You're not going to reach an atheist who has high emphasis on intellect the same way as that you would reach a guy who cuts your hair that's one of your best friends who's having a health scare. It's different. Yeah, it's not. You're not going to change the gospel. You're not going to change yourself, but you have to learn how to change the method of which you're going about it. So it's like the way I would do ministry here is completely different to what would work in England. Yeah, it's not because one's better than the other, but it's because you know the people, you know the culture that you're in, that you're trying to take to Jesus. And so I would never change the gospel. I've never changed that. Yeah, look, like, we're in sin, but a Savior came and He saved us and He resurrected, and now we can walk in that. But the way that I'm going to try and communicate that is going to be different.
Yeah.
So
100%. And you have to try it as well. I mean, who would have thought, knowing me when I was 13, that actually loving me
exactly.
would have shown Jesus? And so I think you can look at someone and go, oh, he's into basketball, he likes this, so that's all I'm going to do. But actually, if you show us different side that maybe he hasn't received or they haven't received, that really opens up a way to show Jesus. So.
And that's clear proof that the Holy Spirit's going to lead you in how to lead them to himself. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know this is what's going to get Connor to follow Jesus. It was just, this is my friend who I love. Yes, we've bonded in things like basketball, but because he's a friend who I love, I want him to be around who I love.
Yeah.
It's my family. And then I didn't have much deep thought at that age to think Connor's got a broken family. He's not been around like a healthy marriage, like, so I'm going to do that. I wish I could say that's what I said as a 13-year-old, but I didn't. I was just like...
But it's not about strategy.
Exactly.
It is not about strategy. So.
Exactly. That's why I get frustrated a bit in church. I don't know if it's like the same in England right now, of where it's like we teach how to evangelize as this one size fits all. Yeah. And it's like, it's just so not true.
No. Even like down to small groups where it's like, so for us, I'm not part of the small groups that do this, but they structure what they're going to talk on from the Sunday, which works, and it helps the people who are volunteering not have to go away and prep something. But for me, in my small groups, I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Okay, I know that this person's going through that, so how can I implement that for everyone to understand? And it's just it's not I can't even say the word, strategic. Yeah. It's just relational. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. But this has been on my mind. If you didn't watch the one with Elle, the one that you just recorded, watch it, because this makes sense, but it goes with what we're talking about. So my family are not Christian. My gran believes in God, believes in Jesus, doesn't believe that Jesus did the miracles, so it's a whole conversation.
Yeah.
But the biggest mistake I ever did with my parents was show them my anger and annoyance at church.
Meaning...
I went through a hard time with a church that I planted, I helped plant, and I showed them everything bad about that church and never anything good, because they were my safe space. I could go home, I was living with my mum at the time, go home and just explode and just like, but never actually talk about the good. And my mum knows church has done amazing things. She's so thankful for you guys and the church that we were part of, but she really saw the bad side when I was going through the hard times. And so if there is students there who are the only Christian, you talked about that, don't talk about the bad stuff as much as you do the goods, because there is so much more good going on in your life than someone's upset you at Unified because he said he didn't like your trousers, right? But actually what God has done in your life, that is what you need to show. And I think they can use that again with arguments. My mum's argued with me before about church and said, well, this has happened to you, because that's all she knows. That's all I've told her. But actually, if you feed them the goodness of God and in your life, then actually it's not an argument, it's a conversation. So that was on my mind before. I just wanted to share that.
It's really good. And I liked what you hit on of it's always got to be relational ministry. This guy Preston Perry said I think I either said it or I read it in his book. Said a really good quote. He's like, when we start to put our identity in the information we know about God and not the God that we know relationally, we'll start to treat people like projects and not like image bearers.
Yeah, wow.
And I'm like, I've done that. Is when we have these things at churches or ministries that have evangelism classes, I'm like, how many classes do you need to just be yourself and speak to people as they are image bearers of God, not the project that you're trying to convert, Yeah. So I've done like groups and stuff here at Unified where I've like taught them on what certain different religions believe that's different to ours. But I will always hesitate to do some kind of class to tell someone who is not like me how to evangelize to someone who is not me.
Yeah.
It's to help them know the gospel and help them know what you're inviting them into to follow in Jesus. But at the end of the day, it has to be relational. It's not a project. I've only ever led someone to Jesus in like a stranger in a moment, and they give their life to Jesus right then, maybe twice in my whole life. Every other time it's been relational.
Yeah.
See that we are different. Like the guy who cuts my hair, Jody, he's been cutting my hair now for almost 2 years. He's not a believer. And we've had so many conversations. I've invited him to church an insane amount of times. He might even listen to this. He told me he listens to the podcast. But he doesn't come yet. But he knows I love him.
Yeah.
He knows that we've had times where he's been cutting my hair and he's been going through some stuff in life, and I've offered advice. But there would be evangelism classes that would tell me that I'm doing that wrong.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But those classes make you the one person that person's speaking to.
Exactly.
But like if I had someone who was an introvert, I'm very extroverted, I'm going to be a lot for them. And so to introduce them to yourself who's an introvert, right, that helps them just kind of calm down a little bit. But also if I'm not into what they're into, that I can invite someone in who gets that. But if you get five people who are helping them, who are influencing them, yes, because we're talking about Jesus or showing Jesus, that's so much better than one.
Exactly.
Because you can't do everything.
Yeah. And Jesus and his disciples, those 12, he didn't make all these 12 disciples just like stormtroopers that they all look the same and are the exact same. Those were 12 people who were nothing like each other.
Yeah.
You see it all over the Gospels. Like Thomas is nothing like Peter. And Matthew is nothing like John.
Yeah.
But was the goal of Jesus to make them more like him? Yes. But that doesn't mean that it's this, we're all just these clones.
Yeah.
It's the best part about evangelism is, that all these people who are not like each other in many ways all know the same love that comes from God, and you can as well. Yeah, it takes the pressure off. Elle said it in our episode in the last one. It's our role isn't to open their eyes. It's that when they start to, it's to help them understand what they're seeing when it's God.
Yeah.
And so I think
there's a story in the Bible, isn't there, where someone is casting out a demon and it's not a disciple and it's not Jesus, and the disciples get upset because it's not them.
Yeah.
Right, that's the system discipleship. That's system kind of everything in church where it's like, well, that's not us doing it. But Jesus was like, well, if it's
they
for
haven't
the
been
good,
trained.
Yeah, if it's for the good of Christ, then that's completely fine. And it's understanding that it's like, yes, God has called you to be where you are for a reason, but there's also, there's thousands of other people that are here for a reason. And so if you can collaborate with everyone and ultimately collaborate for working with Jesus, then you are opening so many doors for people coming in. But if you try and keep it into your little group, just a few people, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, how would you encourage someone who's listening now that maybe they don't feel like they have a gift of evangelism or how to lead people to Jesus who are non-Christians? Maybe they feel that way. How would you encourage them to show them that they are and how they can be?
I would encourage you, and it sounds so cliche, God has made you, personally you, for every person that you interact with. Like, you are a Christian, okay, so who influenced you? Who was around you? I bet they thought the same, that they weren't that important, they couldn't do that. I feel like that all the time. I walk into my youth group and go, there's 60 youth. Like, who am I to be able to lead these kids to Christ? Like, no way, but it's not about me. I lean into God. I let God work through me. And so you're enough because God has said you are enough. You are loved. And it doesn't matter if you feel like you're not the biggest extrovert and you can speak to thousands of people. Start with the one. Start with your best friend who doesn't know Christ. Start with the person at the cashier. We had the prayer conference, right, last week. And this guy, who I can't remember his name, the last person to speak, he has divine... What does he call it?
Divine appointments.
Divine appointments. He's an introvert, and he'll just say, hey, can I pray for you? Right? He is introverted. He does not want to really speak to people, but God has put him into people's lives to pray for them and to open doors, like just by asking to pray.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll get shut down. Yes, you'll get some amazing prayer moments, but it's just going out there and just going, you know what? Yes, I may feel like I'm not enough, but Jesus dying on that cross made me enough, right? He died for me. That is a huge thing on my life. so I can do whatever.
Yeah.
I can go out and speak to whoever. I can let God use me.
I forgot which pastor said it or who said it to me at some point in my life, but it changed my life when someone just said, they said to me, either it was through a screen or someone said my name, I don't remember, but it was, you belong in every room. Everywhere you go, every moment of your life, you belong there. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know? And like that guy who was talking at the prayer conference, we forgot his name, but he was talking about these divine appointments, that it was, it's basically that everywhere he was, he belonged there, in the sense of that, who am I sitting next to on this flight? I'm going to ask him if I can pray for them. It's everywhere you go, you belong there. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Every person you're friends with, you belong in that room with them. This is the last question I'll give you. How would you encourage people in this culture, in this country, who maybe are hesitant to, or just aren't in a situation of life where they are friends with non-believers? What would you encourage them to do? Why would you encourage them to befriend non-Christians, all that? Speak into that.
Yeah, I'd encourage you, because I think it actually gives you a check on your relationship with God, number one.
Sure.
Like, I went away to kind of ground myself with Jesus and know that actually if something comes our way that tries to tempt me, I'm grounded in him. And so it's a challenge. You go back to maybe some friends that you had before you were a Christian, and they challenge you by let's go out partying or whatever. It's a challenge, and it really helps your faith. But I think it pops the Christian bubble that you may be living in. I personally, I love being out here, and obviously we are around a load of Christians, but I love nothing more than going home and being around non-Christians and understanding them, because that changes the way that I communicate. It changes the way that I see my personal faith. So I think it gives you growth as much as it gives the people you're around. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it, man. All right. Well, I hope this was beneficial. Hope it was encouraging. This is Connor Willman. His Instagram is CJ Willman. If you want to DM him with more questions on stuff like this, go for it. DM the Unified Instagram if you have further questions that you'd like to be talked about in this podcast. But I hope this was encouraging to see that, one, you belong in every room. What culture are you in? What people are you around? What are you going to do about it? And if God can use someone like Connor and like me, he can use you as well. So step into that. Connor, appreciate your time coming on. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a good day.